It is what you read when you don't have to that will determine what you will be when you can't help it. Oscar Wilde. Hey, my name's Cory. I'm so excited you're here with me today. On this channel, we talk about personal finance and investing. I'm on a mission to help people with financial literacy, and I hope you get something from this video today. I want to talk about the books that have had the biggest impact on my financial life for the better.
Look, go away, read some books.
And this is actually kind of like part 2 of another video that I did because I just have so many books that I couldn't pick what was my top 5 or my top 4. So this is the next part of my favorite books and books that have impacted my financial life for the better. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already so you don't miss an important video. Let's jump in. The first book is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This was an incredible book, and really the title and the name of it says it all. It's how to think about money. If you haven't already read this book, bump this to the top of your list. Have you ever heard the incredible story of Ronald Read? Read was a mechanic at a gas station for 25 years, and then he worked as a janitor at JCPenney's for another 17 years after that. When Read passed away in 2014 at the age of 92, Read made national headlines. Read left his kids $2 million and donated over $6 million to his local hospital and his local library. Read's life was as simple as it gets. He had a very small 2-bedroom home, and a lot of his friends said one of his favorite hobbies was chopping wood. Those who knew him were just absolutely shocked. They could not understand that such a humble man had so much money. There was no hidden lottery or secret inheritance that he was hiding for years and years. Read simply saved and invested money in the stock market. He left it alone long enough that it generated over $8 million in wealth by the time he passed away in 2014. In that same year, Eric Williams, an NBA basketball player who made over $40 million, went completely broke and bankrupt, lost his home and became homeless, and was tens of thousands of dollars in debt. Now, what I find incredibly interesting about both of these stories is that this happens all the time in finance. What other industry can you see someone with no training, no college degree, no connections outperform somebody with a college degree, connections? It's hard to think of another industry that this ever happens in, isn't it? It's hard to think that a janitor can actually outperform an NBA star who has made over $40 million. But how do things like this happen in the world of personal finance? According to Morgan Housel, it all comes down to our psychology. Doing well with money isn't necessarily about what you know or really who you know. It's about how you behave. And even teaching behavior to smart people can be really, really difficult. Behavior in personal finance always outperforms intelligence. What you do is going to trump what you know. Now follow me for a minute, because money, investing, personal finance, all of these things can seem like math-based equations and simple, binary, non-emotional decisions. But in the real world, people don't make financial decisions on a spreadsheet. They make them at the dinner table. They make them from a friend's hot stock tip, where personal history, your own unique view of the world, your ego, pride, marketing, and odd incentives are all scrambled together. The Psychology of Money is 19 short stories on the strange ways that people think about and make investments, and how you can overcome emotional investing and get out ahead, even over top of somebody who makes hundreds or even millions of dollars more than you. Number 2, Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin. If you haven't read this book yet, I highly recommend it. This is one of the most influential personal finance books that I've read. Whether you're just starting out or whether you're a seasoned investor heading towards retirement, this book is going to help you set yourself up for success with your finances. Your Money or Your Life goes over some major principles in personal finance. Number 1, get out of debt and start saving money. Number 2, save money through mindfulness and good habits rather than strict budgeting. Number 3, Declutter your life and live well for less. Number 4, invest your savings and begin building wealth. Many people don't realize the impact your beliefs about money have on you. This book addresses how our beliefs about money affect our values and affect our actions. Many of us focus too much on our financial mistakes in the past and let those realities impact our future. Making peace with the past is the first key step in this book. This book poses the major question: what do you have to show for the money that you've earned throughout the entire duration of your working years? The action step in this is simple, but it's a huge pill to swallow. The first step is to add up your lifetime income, add up your lifetime wealth ratio, and assets and liabilities. This is an eye-opening experience if you haven't done it already. The next section talks about being present in your life. Track your life energy. Start tracking your life energy. How much money are you making for the amount of time that you're working? Here's another eye-opener. When we normally calculate our hourly wage, what do? We automatically just divide our salary by the number of hours worked, right? But it's actually much more complicated than that. Depending on the job we have, we spend time, money, and mental energy on things related to work, and we don't always factor it in. The more energy spent on these things, the more energy is spent making money. This is the most important step. This is the overall exchange between our time for money. Driving, waiting, texting, talking on the phone are all things that we do for work, and we don't always factor it in. A 40-hour work week plus 10 hours of commute time, plus 2 hours of checking email after work, plus 2 hours of shopping and figuring out what to wear means that 56 hours is focused on work, which if we take 56 hours and we divide that against our hourly wage, it's already gone down. This is all a part of how we literally trade our time for money. However, if someone held a gun up to your head and said your money or your life, you would automatically give them all of your money because your life is that important. And the entire undertone of this book takes on that principle. Is your money worth your life? No, it's not. This is the value we have to place on your life existence, your life energy. Whether this is intentionally or unintentional, this is how people live most of their lives. We value our money over our life. The last thing in this book that I was just completely blown away by is Vicky talks about the crossover point. Now, this is the first time that I had ever heard this. In other books, I talked about the crossover point, financial independence, reaching financial security. The crossover point is simply this. It's when your investments are generating enough passive income to pay for your basic monthly expenses on a yearly basis. This is what every investor is striving for. This is like the holy grail of investing, when your money has reached the point that it can begin to generate income for you passively. Now, the question for you is whether this will happen at a normal retirement age or whether you're striving to have this happen earlier in your life. Your money or your life. The next book is The Boglehead's Guide to Investing. Boglehead's Guide to Investing is a slightly irreverent approach to investing. It's a little bit different than your normal investing book. The book offers sound principles and advice for investing, no matter what your age or your net worth. This book talks about becoming a keeper and not a borrower or a consumer. The keepers invest their money and pay themselves first. Number 1, swap your paycheck mentality for a net worth mentality. Number 2, pay off high interest credit card debt immediately. 3, establish a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Keep investing simple. So many times we grow up hearing average isn't the best. You get what you pay for. Well, with investing, we need to reload those words in our minds to achieve real wealth. The Bogleheads have designed this book to keep investing simple. The average return of the stock market is the best return. Indexed investing takes very little investment knowledge and hardly any skill. Investing in index funds allows you to focus on other more important things in life while capturing the gains of the great businesses of the United States or abroad if you choose to invest internationally. Index investing is so simple because of its low cost and its tax efficiency. The Boglehead's Guide to Investing. Number 4, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich has been called the granddaddy of all motivational lectures. All great achievements start with great ideas. Every great leader that has ever existed has been a dreamer. The title of this book should give you a hint as to the direction that we're headed. You have the ability to control your own mind. Thoughts, backed by desires, has the ability to become realities in physical form. If you fail to control your own mind, you can be sure you'll control nothing else. Plant thought seeds into your own mind. You will see that those seeds of thought, after they've been cultivated and watered, come to fruition in your life. A great takeaway from this book is to maintain a burning desire. Stay hungry. Having the attitude, I must win, or I must accomplish X, Y, or Z, will set in your mind the seeds of greatness. To simply wish or to flippantly long to accomplish something, you can be sure that it'll be very difficult to accomplish it. Let's say, for example, you want money. Here is a 6-step method for transforming desire into its material counterpart. Number 1, set a specific amount. Number 2, what are you going to give in return for it? Number 3, set a specific date. Number 4, create and define a plan and start right away. Number 5, write 1 to 4 into a statement. And number 6, read it out loud twice daily. Reading it out loud creates faith inside of you. It creates a solid goal for your mind to focus on. Now, I know this is a bit heady, but stick with me here. This is a great way to achieve a goal that you set in your mind. Think and Grow Rich. Great book. And finally, The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. Now, in 1926, George wrote The Richest Man in Babylon, and its timeless principles still apply and are still helpful today. Despite the time that has passed between when this book was written and now, the principles and the parables in this book remain a timeless blueprint for building wealth. The lessons from this book are still relevant today. This is a classic book and gives some practical advice for building wealth in your life. Now, Babylon was known to be one of the richest early societies due to its great engineering, agriculture, as well as its gold and jewels. But before it became what it is, it was nothing but a normal city. Here are some key takeaways from The Richest Man in Babylon. The first lesson is to save a portion of all you earn. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. I literally put this on a little sticky note and stuck it in my car, so I never forgot. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. In the book, a tale was told about a certain rich man, Arkad, who was invited to teach his fellow men how to amass wealth. The first lesson was, for every 10 coins that you receive, save 1 and spend 9. Part of all you earn is yours to keep. You're probably saying, isn't all I earn mine to keep? Well, yes, but don't you pay insurance, rent or mortgage, food, clothing costs? Most of the wealthiest people in the world save at least 10% of their income. There are 2 categories of people when it comes to saving: those who spend first and save what is left, and those who save first and spend what is left. Number 2, the second takeaway is knowing the difference between necessary expenses and wants or desires.
What desires?
In this book, Clason noted that people feel like their income isn't enough to cover all of their expenses. This is because people confuse necessary expenditures with desires. When you cannot differentiate between your wants and desires, even if you have a higher wage, you will always be in a position where your supposed necessary expenses rise to equal your income. Control your expenses. There are 2 ways to control your expenses. Number 1, increase your income, or number 2, decrease your expenses. If you're not tracking your expenses and income, you'll never become wealthy. Number 3 is to make your money multiply. Now, this is a great quote from Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, if you don't already know it. It's not in this book, but it reminds me of this quote. Kevin says, "My money are like little soldiers. I send them out to war and they come back home with prisoners." In The Richest Man in Babylon, Clason says to put each dollar to laboring so that it might reproduce its kind. The wise Babylonians saw money as a seed. If planted correctly, can give you a fortune. In order to multiply your money, you must make it work for you. If your desire is to be wealthy, then you must earn beyond your income instead of spending money to acquire depreciating assets like cars, big houses. This book advises that if you invest in assets that appreciate, like stocks, real estate, or a side business, these will eventually generate money for you to live off of when you're no longer strong enough to work long hours. Your money will work for you by the power of compound interest. So that would be my final recommendation, The Richest Man in Babylon. These were 5 of my favorite finance books that have really impacted my life for the better. Thank you so much for watching, and please consider subscribing if you haven't already so you don't miss an important video, and we'll see you on the next one.